Calabria with the cross, Giroud, yes! What a beauty! A hat-trick against Sampdoria, and with Milan's first real attempt in anger, Olivier Giroud produces a gorgeous header. Muriel goes for goal, he'll try again, and it's an absolute beauty.
Safe and big ups, fam. Welcome to The Real Deal, Season 2, Episode 40 of Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts, Jake
and Matt.
And you must have noticed that we have a new intro.
Yes, thank you very much to our boy Xavier for giving us the opportunity to use his music in our intro. Guys, check him out. He's the fucking coolest.
Yeah, he loves the Serie A. This rapper just reached out to us. He was like, yo, love the content. He was like, it would mean a lot to me if you could use my music. And we checked out his music, and his music's lit. It's fire.
It's
really
fucking
good.
lit. And you guys should go check out his music videos. He's repping all kinds of vintage Serie A, full tracksuits and kits. This guy's the coolest. His full name is
Xavier Top Floor.
Xavier Top Floor. Check him out on Spotify, check him out on YouTube, check him out anywhere and show him some love, guys. He's a loyal listener, good guy as well, and banging tunes, genuinely.
Hear me now. What a week of football, bro.
Oh man, the penultimate day of Serie A, another entire season doing this podcast with you, brother.
Yes,
Again, always a pleasure. And towards the end of the season, it's just my favorite episodes to record, genuinely.
Yeah. Because it's like we speak more on the grand scheme of things than the actual game itself, and that can be quite enjoyable at times, We've seen seasons that have become successful this weekend.
Exactly. Like, for example, Milan's is the best case scenario. Everyone's saying what a terrible season Milan have had. All of a sudden, Europe next year, Champions League semi-final. What a successful season.
Yeah. Lecce survived, for example. That's another massive thing. Successful season for them. That was the goal, Salernitana survived as well.
Absolutely. We'll get into all these details very soon. But yes, towards the end of the season, obviously, we spend an entire season, 39 episodes, talking about what could be. And finally, now we get to present to you guys exactly what went down, and we get to close this wonderful season off in style. Our goal of the week, well, 2 goals of the week. We've been doing that nowadays. Do you guys like it? Do you prefer 1 goal of the week? I think it gives us the opportunity to appreciate more goals.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't as beautiful, maybe they meant something, maybe it wasn't the last minute. It just allows us to give props to more goals.
And it's unique, it's easy to just plug in Muriel's strike because it was from a distance and it was a rocket. But, that finesse and the flair and just the... Giroud's a predator, man.
Look, man, Giroud's goal, you see him hustle so hard to get to the ball. And then just he exports this finesse when he heads the ball. He gets there like a savage. And then it's poetry in motion, the way it hits the back of the net. There was only one specific ball width where the ball could have gone without Szczesny getting to it or the ball hitting the post. And that is exactly where it was placed by this 39-year-old veteran striker for AC Milan. 12 goals this season. What a season he has had, man.
Incredible.
Obviously,
he's aging like fine wine, huh?
Exactly. And obviously Muriel's goal. Don't you just love when a free kick hits the wall, bounces back to the player, and the player just can't sit. First time again after a failed free kick. That's exactly what happened. A bit of help after it hit the crossbar and bounced slightly off Onana's arm, but a wonderful goal nonetheless by Muriel.
Definitely. For the betting segment, guys, we have quit betting.
I know only 2 episodes left. We could have kept it up, but honestly, we can't. We have these wonderful patrons that are kind enough to be paying a subscription fee to support the podcast, and it just doesn't feel right putting that money towards betting when we can invest it and give you guys better quality with your help.
Exactly. It feels hypocritical to have patrons on and to be betting €5 on Verona win or draw, So
taking all these risks, just fucking their money away. Fuck that, man.
No, we're just gonna save up and get some equipment, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks to your subscriptions. If you would like to subscribe and join the family and eventually tune into our lives when we'll be streaming FIFA and other types of content, check out the link in our bio on Instagram at Say A Spotlight or on Twitter. You'll find the link to our Patreon over there.
Exactly. Behind the scenes content. You get featured in our question segment. You get to witness our FIFA head-to-head streams. Join our Patreon now, guys. Just $3.99 a month, the price of a pack of 4 McNuggets. Thank you once again, Ed, for that analogy. I absolutely adore it.
So, bro, before we get down, I have a few notes. I took random observations from this week, random pieces of news. Lots of new kits on display this match day. Did any of them stand out to you?
To me, it was Fiorentina's.
Lovely
Genuinely,
kit,
it looks really, really good. Has that vintage feel to it. The purple is in a bit of a darker tone. It has that pattern to it. They brought back the white collar. Absolutely love that kit, man.
Gorgeous kit. I also like Lazio's kit.
Lazio's away.
Like
it was an away kit, right? The black one.
Yeah, it was like inspired by the Venezia kit almost,
Absolutely.
2 seasons ago.
I think so too. And I also liked, so Roma have changed their sponsor to Toyota for next year. They were sporting the Toyota tracksuits. The tracksuits look really cool, sponsored by Toyota, man. It looks good on the kit.
Toyota is a cool sponsor to have.
Yeah, absolutely. And reliable.
And reliable, you know, parts aren't that expensive, it's all good.
Sponsor us, Toyota.
4 Serie A teams have confirmed their place in next year's edition of the Champions League. These teams are, of course, Napoli, Lazio, Inter, and Milan. Lazio have confirmed that second place finish. And third place is up for grabs depending what happens on the final day. It's between Milan and Inter.
Yep. You know what we're hoping for.
Yes, sir. And plus, let's not take it for granted that Juve are out of it completely. Of course, they most likely are, but you never know the way that their points have just been taken away from them and given to them. They're like fucking, I don't know, man. What analogy would you use for something so moody?
Maybe that is it. Katy Perry's song "Hot and Cold."
Yeah.
Is that a Katy Perry song?
Shout out Xavier top floor. No. Salernitana survive, Lecce survive, Spezia and Hellas Verona are taking it to the final day for some drama. Do you know, before you comment, that if they have the same amount of points, there's a playoff?
What?
A relegation playoff.
No way.
That's happening in Serie B right now between Cosenza and Brescia, the first game.
Is this confirmed in Serie A?
This is confirmed.
Happen? Oh, that's mental. Because Spezia have the direct encounter in their favor because there was a 0-0 draw and the 2-1 win for Spezia over Verona. So I just assume that now they're playing, so Spezia get to play Roma away on their final game of the season. Verona play Milan away, last game of the season. I'm going to be there watching it. Also shooting some content for you guys and for our patrons. So I just assume they're both going to get 0 points from those games and Verona are going to get relegated.
Yeah, well, that's, to be honest, what I was expecting as well. But we'll see. The last day always has so much drama, bro. We'll see what happens. And Verona have their nickname Fatal Verona, from shafting Milan back in the day.
And do you know which stadium it's going to be played in? This is going to be probably a neutral stadium
I think it's 2 legs, home and it's over 2 legs, I believe. Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, that would be nice, bro. Speaking of, it would be very similar to the Serie B survival playoffs that has our dick nice and hard.
Our dicks, please. Multiple dicks.
We are Siamese. No, it's between Cosenza and Brescia in Serie B, and the first leg with Cosenza at home ended 1-0 for them, with the goal coming from Marco Nasti, the baby bomber they call him. He's 19 years old. He's a prolific goal scorer already. I believe he's on loan from Milan.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Baby bomber.
Very good. Now, in the promotional playoffs, which are more interesting. Let's be
so interesting.
So crazy and fun to watch. Südtirol eliminated Pippo Inzaghi's Regina thanks to an 89th minute winner by Kaziragi. You can imagine the scenes.
Yeah.
And then the game between Venezia and Cagliari ended in a 2-1 victory for Cagliari thanks to an early brace by Gianluca Lapadula, dude. He showed that he was just a cut above the rest in terms of quality this game.
Absolutely, man. What a game he had. 2, I mean, not spectacular goals, but very professionally taken goals. You could tell that this guy's got Serie A experience. And I'd be excited to see him back in the league, or even if they don't get there, get to see him transferred maybe to a lower tier team within Serie A. Yeah,
definitely. I enjoyed having him in the league. He scored, that second goal was all him, like so calm, bro. He dispossessed the defender and just finished expertly. He's so calm under pressure.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, right now, there's also a promotional playoff taking place between Südtirol and Bari. We'll see where this goes. And then tomorrow, tomorrow would be Tuesday, guys, Tuesday the 30th. There's a game between, I believe it was Cagliari and Parma. Yes,
yeah, two former Serie A teams, obviously very recently. Excited to see them go head to head. I wish there were still some of the classic names we remember for both teams in Serie A, particularly, João Pedro, for example, Graziano Pelle for Parma.
There are a few, bro. There are a few. There's Dennis Mann and Buffon.
Love Dennis Mann.
Dennis Mann's so good. And even the other one, Mihaila? I'm not sure if he's still there. Mihaila. I think he had gone to Atalanta, but I think he was only alone.
And of course, Cagliari still have Nathan Nandez, a fantastic player. And they still own some great Serie A players. And I know they had a couple players loaned out. Don't know them on top of my head, but obviously we remember Marin with them. We remember Cranio with them. Cranio obviously needs to stay at Monza now after they confirm that they will be staying in Serie A. But yeah, a lot of cool players will return to the league, man.
Yeah, they also have Bellanova in their final year.
Oh, exactly.
Inter have communicated to UEFA that they'd like to wear their traditional black and blue home kit for the Champions League final, despite the fact that Manchester City are the designated home team.
Okay. Well, technically, you could tell them apart.
Yeah, you could.
It would be better than the fucking Milan-Juve game that we saw, where they both had the back of the t-shirts were both black.
Yeah.
And we're used to Juve in white shorts and Milan in black shorts, and it was the other way around in this game. I didn't know who I was keeping my eyes on.
Yeah, at times certain runners in behind caught me off guard.
Yeah, I'm like, are those three defenders?
We're keeping everyone on side!
Literally. Run the other way, bro, where are you going?
But by the way, speaking of kids that stood out, I tried my best to like Juve's.
No way. And last time, because I said it's like a child drew with yellow highlighter on it, you told me off, you called me a grandpa.
Yeah, I was like, come on, get with it, bro, high fashion. But then I saw it in motion, and it didn't get better.
No, not at all. I hate, Juve haven't had it good with their last few kits. I can't remember the last one. Well, the one this season wasn't too bad. That was the last decent one.
Yeah, it's true. The Adidas have just become very, very weird.
You remember the one with, I believe it was Ronaldo's final season, where they had the pink stripe down the middle. The Bala was still there.
And then they had Jeeps with the hard black background. Man. And it just looked like a sticker that was slapped onto the chest of the kid. Like
dog. Jesus.
Spalletti is a free man and has asked for a sabbatical year, allowing him to resign from his role as head coach with 1 year left on his contract. These terms mean that he isn't allowed to join another club. This is one of Spalletti's favorite things to do.
Yeah.
To just be contract bound and like on a safari somewhere in Africa.
Well, he hustles, bro. He hustles and he takes a year out. Don't you wish you could do that? All power to you. Bro. Spalletti obviously would like to keep the best people in the league and would like to keep the best best performers in the league. He was the best manager by a landslide this season. What he managed to do with this Napoli team was fantastic. Great group of players, but it's not easy to get a fresh new team, especially after losing some key pieces, to play that well together and to do bits to historically get into the quarterfinals of the Champions League, to win the league in the manner that they did. Just a fantastic season. Hats off to Spalletti. He deserves the year off.
Yes, apparently Napoli are going all in on Luis Enrique for next season.
Oof.
Yeah, he's one of the hottest names around, especially when it comes to affordable coaches.
Yeah.
I totally imagine him there personally.
Absolutely. Spain manager.
Former
Barcelona manager, known to be a man of the people. He had his famous live streams after every World Cup game for Spain. Just a very, very solid human being. And he's had some success as well, so it would be exciting to see him in the league.
Yes, Daichi Kamada will most likely be joining Milan as a free agent after they secured Champions League qualification. The Japanese trequartista had a pretty good season with 14 goals and 7 assists in all competitions.
Yeah, exciting. 6 foot tall attacking midfielder, known for his finishing, even good in the air. He looks very, very good. But
he does.
As a Milan fan, I'm done looking at highlight reels because that got me hyped for players like De Ketelare, who obviously is talented, but he hasn't hit the ground running. So I don't want to get too hyped before I see him in action in Serie A, but it does look promising. 27 years old, so he does have experience.
Plays in the German league.
Plays in the German league for Frankfurt, and it is going to be good seeing Milan sign someone who is in their physical prime.
Definitely, bro. So the next point I have is Conte was spotted at the Juve Milan game.
For who,
Exactly,
bro?
yes,
For who?
For who?
Jesus.
That's precisely my question. For who?
For who, dog?
Perhaps
Well,
for no one. Perhaps for the love of the game, no?
perhaps to fucking stir shit up, bro. Like, we know that Juve have pledged their loyalty towards Allegri despite the entire team probably wanting him out, despite the unsettlement there is in the club. A lot of it isn't his fault because of what's going on behind the scenes. A lot of it is his man management, which he has seriously struggled with. He's really struggled with keeping players happy for a number of years. That infamous falling out with Bonucci in the Champions League final that derailed them against Real Madrid, losing 4-1. In the fucking Champions League final, all over an argument between a veteran player and a manager.
No, it was with Dani Alves, I believe, the argument, though. I think Allegri did actually get involved, but I believe the original argument was between Dani Alves and Bonucci, because Dani Alves actually knows how to win, while Bonucci thinks he knows how to win.
Fair enough. Bonucci did this really cool thing where he joined Milan, then scored against Juve, celebrated, and then cried and wanted to join Juve again. But yeah, respect the veterans.
Respect. Now, Gasperini, his future with Atalanta is now in serious doubt, bro, for the first time in 7 years. I can't imagine Atalanta without Gasperini. Weird.
I can't either, but maybe it is time for them to freshen things up a little bit. I can't think of a man that could handle Atalanta in a better manner than he can. But if you look at the past 2 seasons, they have been a bit of a failure for him. Other teams have been slipping up, and they slipped up too. They didn't take advantage of any slip-ups.
It would be a step down for him, and considering the season he's had, probably it wouldn't warrant a step down. But Simone Inzaghi also plays a very rotation-based brand of football with 3 at the back. He might be a good fit for Atalanta.
Yes, if you're saying that he's leaving Inter.
If they made it very far in the Champions League. I mean, we had to ask Inter fans about Simone Inzaghi before they made the Champions League final. Before they even played Milan in the Champions League semi-final, most of them would have said, Inzaghi out, can't stand him, very narrow-minded with the fact that, a yellow card, he'll take you out. He will fucking rotate players recklessly, in their opinion, lose vital games in the league.
Well, they did lose around 10 games this season in the league, but fact of the matter is they're third. Now that brings us to the great debate of Pioli, the great debate of Simone Inzaghi. What's going to happen? What should happen? Just because they finished high up, is it a successful season, or were their performances not up to par? Who knows? These are for the teams to discuss.
Do you factor in the fact that a political decision was the reason you finished there, for example, in Milan's case? There's a lot to think about, a lot to talk about.
We'll leave that up to the professionals, I guess.
The pros, yes. Paolo Dybala caused the sigh of relief, a collective sigh of relief all around Rome when he joined Mourinho and his Roma teammates in a training session. Today, he will probably be available for the Europa League final. Very good, very good, very good.
You need your best players. We know Roma have been riddled with injuries. They still managed to use Mourinho's tactics in order to get themselves to another historic European final. Last year, it was the Conference League. This year, it's the Europa League. They need their best players. If they win this, they get another trophy, second in a row in 2 seasons, and they get Champions League next year, meaning we'll have 5 clubs in the Champions League next year.
Beautiful. Bro, shall we give them a rundown of what happened in match day 37?
Absolutely, brother. So Milan only needed 1 point away against Juventus, but they got 3 and they won 1-0 away from home, meaning Milan have secured Champions League football. Juve will need to fight until the last day to ensure that they get Europa League, because as it stands, they are getting Conference League. It was Inter 3, Atalanta 2, leaving a nice big gap between Milan and Atalanta, which subsequently confirmed Milan's place in the Champions League. Fiorentina 2, Roma 1, the battle of the Conference League finalists against the Europa League finalists. Surprise, surprise, it was the Conference League finalists that prevailed 2-1. It was Lazio 3, Cremonese 2, a mad game, including a last-minute goal by Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, a very emotional Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, as Lazio confirmed their place in second. Bologna 2, Napoli 2, fantastic game of football over there between one of the hottest form teams right now in Serie A and Bologna versus the champions in Napoli. Verona 1, Empoli 1. Verona thought that they had it done, but Empoli gave them a nice little shush towards the end of the game. Spezia 0, Torino 4, meaning that Spezia have to fight till the last day after Verona's draw. Monza 0, Lecce 1, a historic victory for Lecce as they confirmed that they will be in Serie A next year. The scenes in this game were immaculate. The manager couldn't even look at the penalty being taken. It was the last kick of the game. Oh my God, genuinely I get shivers even thinking about it. Salernitana 3, Udinese 2, last minute goal by Trustekong against his former club. Absolute scenes once again, and a couple of great goals in this game by Salernitana. And Sampdoria 2, Sassuolo 2. Sampdoria play better under pressure when they're not under pressure, rather.
Bro, that's just a nice menu of games to discuss.
It really is,
wow,
bro.
Man.
Juve, Milan, Inter, Atalanta, Fiorentina,
Can I just
Roma,
say, by the
Bologna,
way,
Napoli.
Empoli are full of shithouses, bro. I love them. They had so last week they had Henderson asking, like mocking Vlahovic to his face, just going like, "Wow, 80 million, wow!" Like after every mistake, just saying that to his face. And this time he had Stojanovic scoring a late goal, fucking potentially relegating Verona, and he just runs back, staring the players in the face and shushing them.
They're such pieces of shit. I love them, man.
They're the best,
I love this Empoli team.
Amazing,
Jesus
amazing,
Christ.
amazing. Have fun with it, dude. Fuck it.
Absolutely, bro. Absolutely. There's the shithousery. I think it's kind of friendly shithousery. There's a lot of negativity in football. We'll be addressing some racist chants that went on during this match day. Unfortunately, once again, this time aimed towards Juric. You know, there's all this negativity in football. A bit of friendly shithousery isn't the end of the world. You look at, for example, the World Cup. I believe it was the quarterfinals between Netherlands and Argentina. That was brilliant shithousery. That's competitiveness,
that was fun
bro.
To watch, bro.
Absolutely.
That's it. Because there's no reason for these athletes to repress their competitive nature.
Exactly.
You know? And there are different types of people. There are people who are humble in victory, and there are people who will rub it in. There are the Jamie Vardys of this world.
Exactly.
Know? And honestly, the Martinezes of the world.
Exactly.
I love to watch them.
Same here, man.
Love it.
Same here. Same here. As long as they don't cross the line, I'm thrilled to see that, and actually might root for the bad guys.
Yeah.
But I think we should just jump into it. We're obviously going to start by the staple match of this match day. It was Juve 0, Milan 1. Milan get the double over Juve after the previous encounter was Milan 2, Juve 0, which included that mental solo goal by Brahim Diaz. Milan get Champions League through this game. They only needed 1 point, but they got 3. This was practically a playoff for the final top 4 spot, and a point would be enough for the Rossoneri thanks to their superior head-to-head record, winning 2-0 in October. Danilo and Juan Cuadrado returned from suspension, but Dusan Vlahovic had a muscular issue with Paul Pogba, Nicolò Fagioli and Mattias Sule unavailable. Ben Nasser, Dest and Zlatan didn't make the trip either due to their injuries. I realize that I repeated myself loads. Please don't hate me, guys. Juve lined up in a 3-4-1-2 formation with Szczesny in goal and a backline of Danilo, Bremer and Gatti. They had Kostic out on the left and Cuadrado out on the right with a midfield two of Locatelli and Rabiot. Di Maria played behind Moise Kean and Chiesa. This occasionally did look like a 3-4-1-2 and it occasionally looked like a 4-3-3, but we typically did see Chiesa and Moise Kean up front together with Di Maria just behind them. For Milan, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Mike Maignan in goal and the backline of Calabria, Ciao, Tomori and Hernandez. Midfield double pivot of Krunic and Tonali with Diaz just ahead of them, Messias out on the right, Leao out on the left and Il Bomber Giroud up front. Now, early on in the game, Cuadrado had a pop-at goal from distance, which was well saved by Maignan, and Di Maria skied an opportunity from inside the area, which he could have left for Kostic, who was in a better position and would have more than likely scored with Maignan tracking back in position. But Di Maria, just does whatever he wants.
He's being heavily criticized. He was booed at the end of the game.
Yep, I have some notes about that as well, and we will get into it. Juve had the most opportunities towards the start of the game. They had the Allianz Arena behind them, but in the 40th minute it was Milan that opened the scoring through Giroud. Calabria delivered a precise early cross for the Frenchman, who outjumped Gatti and headed into the bottom corner sensationally. An inch-perfect header. He did so well to get contact to it in the first place, and the way he guided it into the bottom corner was absolutely gorgeous. What a striker. He scored a hat-trick in the last match against Sampdoria, and now an important goal like this guy is just unreal. Milan could have made it 2 in the 70th minute, but Giroud opted to pass it to Salernitana, who was in a tight angle, rather than Brahim, who was in acres of space in front of goal. He did end up apologising to Brahim. It was the wrong decision, but you can't hate on a man that just got a sensational goal like that. And then in the dying moments of the match, Juventus had a chance to equalise when Danilo had a scoring opportunity in a goal-mouth scramble. However, I believe it was Kalulu that got a pivotal touch to it. Not sure he knew much about it. Suddenly, is it a positive season for Milan? They make Champions League. We saw the scenes, them celebrating with Pioli at the end of the season. Brings tears to my eyes, see them surrounding Pioli like that. Was under so much criticism. All the players were under so much criticism. But at the end of the day, Milan made the Champions League semi-finals and got top 4. They get the Champions League after winning the league last season. It really has been a good couple of years to be a Milan fan, man.
It has, finally. After 7 years of
hell,
of a fever dream. 7 years of not understanding what's going on. Like 7 years of Berlusconi, he's going to sell, he's not going to sell, he's going to sell, he's not going to sell. He found the seller, he didn't find.
7 years of saying, is this the new Milan? Are Milan ever going to be back?
Chinese fucking taking over and then splashing so much money.
Andre Silva, Luis Adriano, Biglia, Keisuke Honda.
Financial ruin, elimination from Europe.
Montari, Essien, Tarap.
Oh, bro.
We've seen it all. Irby Emanuelson.
Fernando Torres joined Milan during the fucking...
You were so hyped for him,
I was fucking watching Liverpool highlights of this. Honestly, I think it would be better if we brought him in now. Have you seen Torres recently?
He'd be a centre-back. He'd be like Basquerotto.
He's like Basquerotto level jacked.
He is jacked. And he is the manager of Barcelona's under something, who recently played Real Madrid's under something at Arbeloa. Is the manager. Arbeloa is known to be an absolute shithouse ambassador for Real Madrid. I said Barcelona, sorry, I meant Atletico Madrid, obviously, for Torres. And these two were just going at it on the touchline, being held back. Arbeloa is quite a scrawny, small guy. Torres is a big buff guy, but Arbeloa has balls of steel.
Yeah, someone mocked him from the stand. Someone mocked Torres. And Torres just looked at the stand and was like, I'm coming up there. Like, where do you think I'm going? But yeah.
Is Giroud Milan's MVP for this season? We had a short conversation about this recently. I know in January I said he was. You said Ben Nasser was. What's your verdict now? Match day 38.
I'm gonna go for Leo.
You're gonna go for...
I'm gonna go for
Come on, Leo!
Come on, Leo! No, I'm gonna go Leo, right? I mean, you have to go Leo. He's got more goal contributions than Giroud. He links that fucking defense to the attack almost perfect. Like, you give him the ball at the halfway line, boom, he's going to charge towards the area. Super unpredictable, super strong, super... Like, you know, he's the type of guy you can purely rely on. With Giroud, you need to give him service, granted, but I think this season Milan have been inconsistent on all fronts, right? And Leao was also inconsistent. Giroud also had a dry spell. I couldn't remember the last time he scored before he scored that hat-trick at Sampdoria, for example. I don't think he would be the player of the season for me, for Milan. I would go for Leao.
I'm going to say Giroud because the same argument that I had back in January, I think from a consistency standpoint now, you just said that obviously he had a dry spell, which is true. You could argue that the service wasn't there. You could argue that Giroud isn't a striker that gets you over 15, over 20 goals a season. He's a striker that plays with his back towards goal, looking to set up his teammates, looking to lay the ball off to his teammates. I think when the stage was big, Giroud was the guy to get the big goals for Milan. Right? It is, and Leao did have a very, very long spell this season where I'm just like, sell him. Absolutely love Leao. He's definitely by far the most talented player at Milan. He is the game changer at Milan. He's the X factor at Milan. I just think that the most vital points came through Giroud this season.
Okay, fair enough.
Let's move a bit to Juventus. Obviously, their season was quite disappointing, although technically they were the second best team in Italy for a long time. Had it not been for the 10-point deduction, they would be 2 points ahead of Milan at the moment. And you could argue that the past 3 games shouldn't have counted because they were going through all this turmoil of the 10 points, the 15 points is going to be given, is it not going to be given? Them finding out 10 minutes before the Empoli game and then getting trashed 4-1. And then their fans booing them and them losing 1-0 to Milan. Had that not been the case, I think Juve would have finished second
Yes,
in the
of
league.
course, of course,
genuinely.
of course. Now, look, they were very unlucky because, of course, they had many injuries in midfield and they had to play all these fringe players. Allegri's style is woeful, and usually it's hard to watch. You know what I mean? It's boring, and fans can easily turn against us when the going gets tough because it's boring to watch, right?
Absolutely.
But usually they find comfort in the fact that they would be high up in the table, perhaps first, second, making it quite far in a European competition. They had that. They were in top 4. They should be in top 4 on the pitch.
Yeah.
The problem is they're not because of off-the-field issues, right? And that just leaves now. Fans are just looking at Allegri's boring style and Allegri's fucking how depressed they were watching Juve. They're looking at the table, they're getting even more depressed. They're looking at their European performances, they're getting even more depressed.
For sure.
So it's just a disaster, you know. It was a very, very hard season for Juve fans, man. And honestly, it aches for you.
My heart goes out to the players, obviously the fans as well, because of this absolute fucking roller coaster that they've been in this season. It's not fair on them. It's not fair on the players either, man, who played their hearts out for a lot of it. A lot of them are unhappy with Allegri, but they remained professional for the majority of the season. They managed to get pivotal points. They went those 9 games without conceding a single goal. They did some great things, man. They went through that unbeaten run as well. They got all the way up to second, and for what? For what? For them to be 7th in the league by the end of it, for the fans to turn on them, for the fans to boo Di Maria on his last performance at home for Juve, for the fans to turn on Allegri, obviously, because he's a terrorist of football. What was all that effort for? If I were one of the players, I'd be so pissed off. I wasted a year. Yeah. Wasted a year. Played out of position for a year. And for what? For what did they do all that? To play in the Conference League next year. Enjoy.
All right. That's a passionate rant. Huh?
No, because it pisses me off, because at the end of the day, it's rich people fucking with the sport. It's rich people trying to get a coup. It's rich people trying to commit crimes. And at the end of the day, they're putting... Juve's history is so much bigger than fucking Agnelli. And it's so much bigger than Paratici. And these are the guys that are just fucking it for everyone. Yes, they brought them all the success, but look at the turmoil that they put them through. Juve improved so much from last year. Last year it went down to the wire to see if they'd get Europe, and the year before. Now they played so much better for the majority of the season. They're about to finish second, but all this bullshit caught up with them and they're down in 7th. So for what, man? For what?
Look, I just think that it was very reckless to sign Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, honestly, like they couldn't have known that the world was gonna end when they signed Ronaldo, right? Like exactly. COVID-19 pandemic, fucking Allah. Yeah. They can't make money from their own stadium, which they own, which is a rare advantage to have in Italy. And suddenly it's providing zero revenue, and they've got this fucking guy that they're meant to be paying. And they're like, shit. They're like, we can't pay anyone. They're like, we're not making any money. What the fuck are we gonna do? They're like, Kellini, come, Giorgio, come here. Listen, I need you to talk to the guys.
But isn't it the basics of business to ensure that you have enough to pay people, not for the next month, not for the next 2 months, but you have to ensure that the money that you have and the profits that you have are sustainable. Now, sure, obviously the profits of the stadium was projected to make them enough in the year.
That's the thing,
so
right?
It's hard to criticize them.
Yes, and I think at the end, signing Ronaldo wasn't even... It was less for Juve than it was for Agnelli. Because I remember Agnelli had said, when they bought Ronaldo, I remember 3 years ago I said, in 3 years' time, we'll be signing players like Cristiano Ronaldo.
Oh, wow! Well done, Agnelli. And look what happened, bro. That's the ego. That's an ego signing. That's a shirt sale signing. Yeah. Sure, maybe they wanted to go all out for the Champions League, and there were 2 seasons where Ronaldo actually performed well in the Champions League for them. That famous hat-trick, I believe, against Atletico Madrid that he scored. Sure, man, you got your laughs out of it.
It's just wild that Agnelli will buy Cristiano Ronaldo for his ego, but he won't do something about his monobrow for his ego. Like.
Is the reception that Di Maria got fair?
I mean, he was quite selfish this game now, and he's been a little bit selfish.
His last
And
game for the
yes,
team at home.
I know, but I mean, fans were super frustrated at the time, and they took it out on the guy who didn't get them the points this game, who fucked up that opportunity by attempting to strike the ball when there was a man completely open behind him, Kostic, I believe.
Yeah, it was.
So yeah, I mean, I don't think he deserved to be booed more than anyone else. But you understand that at that moment.
Yeah, I think when he wasn't injured, he was nothing but an asset. There was a time when Chiesa wasn't playing, when Vlahovic wasn't on it, when Milik wasn't even in the team yet, where Di Maria was absolutely everything for Juve. Quick to forget that.
It's just the second it got weird off the pitch, Di Maria stopped performing. That's the reality of it.
Absolutely.
It put him off, and you can tell by his body language that he's put off.
Yeah.
Or he's old, one of them.
Yeah. Agreed.
Or both.
Agreed. I think there's a lot more we can cover in this game, both about Milan and both about Juve, but I guess we'll get into that in the entire season rundown that we'll do in the next episode. So I think we're happy to move on now. As we said, Milan confirmed in 4th place, 67 points now, 6 clear of Atalanta, so there's nothing even God could do to get Atalanta into that space. Maybe Juve will be given the points back, who the fuck knows what's gonna happen, but Juve are in 7th in the Conference League as it stands on 59 points, 1 behind Roma and 2 behind Atalanta.
Speaking of Atalanta, we have Inter 3, Atalanta 2. Inter secured their place in the next Champions League with a 3-2 victory over La Dea. Inter have done the league double over Atalanta for the first time since the 2014-2015 season. Just goes to show how good Atalanta have been. And the fact that Inter couldn't get the double over a team like Atalanta is wild for that long. Atalanta have lost 66 matches against Inter in Serie A, with only Juventus having defeated them more times in the competition. So definitely a dark horse. Well, not a dark horse, because a dark horse is a team you don't expect to beat the other one.
Yeah.
So, white cow. Atalanta had failed to score in 5 of their previous 8 away games against Inter in Serie A. The most away matches they had been goalless against any team in the competition. So it goes to show Inter against Atalanta, bad. Atalanta against Inter, sorry, bad.
The Nerazzurri derby, no?
Nerazzurri derby. Oh, we're gonna leave you black and blue. Now for this game, Inter had Correa, Mkhitaryan, Gagliardini and Skriniar unavailable.
Skriniar unavailable, what?
Right. Atalanta had Zapata, Boga, Hatteber, Palomino, Soppi and Ruggeri all out injured. Inter lined up with a 3-5-2 formation with Onana in goal, Bastoni, Acerbi and D'Ambrosio at the back, Di Marco out on the left with Dumfries out on the right, and the midfield 3 of Çalhanoğlu, Brozovic and Barella with Lukaku and Lautaro Martinez terrorizing the Atalanta defense all on their own up front pretty much. Then you have Sportiello in goal for Atalanta in their 3-4-2-1 formation with Toloi, Gym City and Scalvini at the back, Joaquim Meli out on the right and Zappacosta on the left with Pasalic and Darun in the middle, Højlund playing in front of Koop Miners and Ederson. Now, in the first minute, a few seconds in, Inter took an early lead as Lukaku was played through by Lautaro Martinez. He rounded the goalkeeper and he just slotted it in. Just 2 minutes later, so in the 3rd minute, Inter doubled their lead with Barella scoring a volley after Sportiello parried Di Marco's attempts after Lautaro Martinez played a crazy through pass. It was a powerful through pass.
And
those balls.
2 very good strikes from an awkward angle by Di Marco, who got shots away brilliantly there. He's become such a direct left wing back man and terrorizing that left flank.
Yeah. In the 9th minute, Çalhanoğlu had the ball in the net after gathering a deflected shot from Francesco Acerbi, but he was deemed offside and the goal was therefore ruled out. In the 36th minute, Atalanta managed to pull one back with Pasalic finding the net from close range, but in the 77th minute, Inter pretty much confirmed the victory when Lukaku set up Lautaro Martinez for the winner. But in the 91st minute, Atalanta had something to smile about as Luis Muriel, who's done virtually nothing all season, smashed his free kick into the wall and then just smacked the rebound. whacked off the crossbar into the back of Onana and into the back of the net. I'm sure Muriel will be fuming that was given as an own goal. I find it ridiculous that that's given as an own goal, bro.
Well, technically, if Onana didn't get a touch to it, it wouldn't have been a goal. You know what I mean? So I do get it. It's just unfortunate because it was such a lovely strike, man.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yes, no Onana, no goal there.
Exactly.
So yes, Inter will finish the season in a Champions League spot and have the advantage of preparing for the Champions League final on the 10th of June, while Pep Guardiola and Manchester City have the FA Cup final against Manchester United to worry about. How big of a factor will this be?
It will be a big factor, of course. When you look at City that are gunning for the treble at the moment, they got the league confirmed, and now they have not only an FA Cup final, but an FA Cup final against a very hungry Manchester United, who I believe they won the Carabao Cup already this year, are looking for a double, and they're fierce local rivals, of course. So United will be hungry to spoil City's party. City are going to go into that game very hungry for the victory. But with the squad that that team has, man, they could pretty much go in with most of their second team players. Their second team will kill most teams in Serie A at the moment, unfortunately. I mean, City are head and shoulders above anyone else at the moment.
They'll field their B team and they'll have 100 million euro men playing. Right?
Exactly.
It's wild.
Exactly.
Inter, bro, started this game so hungry. They're looking... They're looking motivated.
They're looking so good at the moment. Props where it's due. They look fantastic, man. So direct. They're so swift to change from defense into attack. Their counter-attacks are fierce. Let me tell you what, a massive factor of this is Barella, man. That work he puts in the central midfield area, the way he carries the ball forward from defense is ridiculous. He even got a goal to his name in this game. Fantastic game by Barella once again, showing how pivotal he is for this team.
Definitely, bro. What's up with Atalanta, man? They played a high press against the center side and really bit them in the ass early on, dude.
Yeah, I think the decision making when it comes to what approach Atalanta are to take this season has been a little bit off. They started in this very pragmatic approach that we mentioned quite a bit because it was such a massive change from how we're used to seeing Atalanta. Atalanta are the team that will put 5 against any team that are inferior to them. This year, they kind of tried to, understanding that they lost a lot of their key pieces, they tried to take a different approach, and it worked out for them for a while, got a bit figured out, tried to change it up again. But you come up against a side like Inter who have all their shit together versus Atalanta who pretty much don't have their shit together and haven't had it together all season, then it's only going to go one way, and Inter like to kill games early. And for them to be 2-0 up by the 3rd minute was a massive kick in the ass for Atalanta.
Let's not forget that Atalanta were in the running for a Champions League spot, and
still are. Well, no, not anymore. But they were until this game.
Exactly. So this was a big team and a big game for Inter, and as we learned this season, Inter do show up in big games.
Oh, absolutely, 100%. That's one thing we can't fault them for. I know early on in the season they were losing against, they lost against Lazio, they lost against Roma, they had lost against Milan. So they did suffer against the top teams towards the beginning of the season, but we know the shift in momentum that they had, especially against the top teams, and yeah, this was courtesy of that.
Yes, Lukaku has been in impressive goal-scoring form. What a turnaround for the Belgium giant. He has scored 7 goals in his last 6 league appearances. Crazy.
I wish him the best with whatever he does next, man. It's no secret how highly we think of Lukaku. Obviously, we gave him a bit of stick because I believe that with his form that he had for the majority of the season, especially after how hyped the move to Inter was, it was impossible not to point out what a disappointment he was. And people were saying he was going to be the capocannoniere, that he was going to get more goals than Lautaro Martinez. There was a lot of hype surrounding him. He really managed to turn things around. It's even harder to start off shit and then improve things rather than just have a good season all round. And he showed his mental strength, he showed his toughness, and respect to him. I hope whatever is next for him, he'll have great success.
Yes, he has made it clear that he wants to stay at Inter. We'll see if Inter can actually accommodate that.
Yeah.
Inter's win against Atalanta marked the anniversary of their first Serie A title win on May 26, 1963. Fun fact over there.
Very fun fact. Thank you, Jake.
Yeah, no problem, buddy. So I'm just going to run you through where they stand in the table as I buy time using this extended speech. Inter are currently 3rd with 69 points, while Atalanta are in 5th with 61 points. They will have to fight to earn that Europa League spot as a loss in their last game might mean that they will fall to the Conference League spot if Roma and Juve win.
Yeah, still an improvement from last year, where Fiorentina got Conference League ahead of them as they finished in 8th. The next game we're going to be covering is Fiorentina 2, Roma 1. The previous encounter was a 2-0 victory for Roma, so 1 apiece this year. As I mentioned earlier, it was the Conference League finalists against the Europa League finalists. Now Roma fumbled an early lead and conceded 2 late goals courtesy of Luka Jovic and Jonathan Icone, ruling Roma out for the race of top 4, giving Fiorentina a morale-boosting victory. The Viola were beaten 2-1 by Inter on Wednesday in the Coppa Italia final and are now preparing for a Conference League final against West Ham on June 7th, while the Giallorossi play Sevilla and the Europa League decider on May 31st. So naturally, these both have a very tight schedule, particularly Fiorentina, who just lost out to Inter in the Coppa Italia. It was Paolo Dybala, Lorenzo Pellegrini, Nemanja Matic, Ronaldo Spinazzola and Rui Patricio that were left behind, with the season already over for Marash Kumballa and Rick Karsdorp. Kumballa, my lord.
Kumballa, my lord, bro.
Kumballa, obviously. For Fiorentina, it was a 4-2-3-1 formation with Cerofolini in goal and the backline of Biraghi, Igor, Martinez and Venuti. They had Mandragora and Duncan in the double pivot, with Saponara on the left, Icone on the right and Barak playing behind Luka Jovic. For Roma, it was a very experimental 4-1-4-1 formation with Svilar in goal and the backline of Missori, Smalling, Lorente and Zalewski. Tahirovic in that defensive midfield role with Solbakken on the right, El Shaarawy on the left, Bove and Wijnaldum playing behind Bellotti.
I don't remember Missori. What did she used to teach?
Geography. In the 11th minute, El Shaarawy opened the scoring as Solbakken headed Bellotti's cross to El Shaarawy, who finished into an empty net, 1-0 to Roma early on. You know that typically means good news for Roma. In the 25th minute, Solbakken's rebound from Wijnaldum's strike was cleared off the line by Martinez Quarta, keeping Fiorentina in the game. Late in the first half, Cerofolini denied both El Shaarawy and Bellotti with 2 solid saves, once again keeping La Viola in the game. In the 54th minute, Jovic had the opportunity to equalise after we saw a shift in momentum. It was Icone who put it on a plate for him, but he lost his footing and failed to make any significant connection with the ball. In the 85th, Jovic redeemed himself after Kwame's cross from the right was knocked down by a towering Mandragora header, finding Jovic to tap in from close range, making it 1-1 late on in the 85th minute. 2 minutes later, in the 87th, it was Icone that got the winner for Fiorentina. Tercic's cross from the left found Kwame's header down and Icone finished it from point-blank range. 3 very similar goals over here. Classic cross to the far post, header down, and the big man gets the ball into the back of the net. Now, typically this season we're used to seeing Roma playing that 3 in the back formation. I know that they've been going through a lot of squad rotation, a lot of injuries, a lot of competitions, but Mourinho's decision to opt for a 4 at the back formation was obviously and naturally quite risky, and this was always going to be a factor, especially them being such a defensive side. They didn't manage to show their defensive strength over here. Do you think it was the right decision by Mourinho to try something like that so late on in the season?
So Mourinho almost got away with murder again, like, you know, an early goal and then just holding out the lead, or trying to hold on to that slender lead and going all the way. But at the end, they just fucking caught them off guard. They managed to get an equalizer. Roma were frustrated. They're like, oh no, we've just let it slip, and then bang, they hit them again, dude. Yeah. And Fiorentina play a lovely brand of football, and I don't know, I don't really see a problem with how Mourinho has been setting up. I mean, he's often fielded these guys, you know. Now it's a team, it's a squad. Like we've seen Tahirovic, we've seen Solbakken, we've seen Bove, we've seen them all season. Missori is the only one. Like I'm wondering.
Llorente, we haven't seen much of this season.
When he played, he was okay.
Yeah, you know? No, he played decently. Yeah, I think it was more the system that kind of let them down in one way. Rather than let them down, I just think Fiorentina did a great job towards the end of the game to go so direct against this back 4. The way they were knocking balls into the middle, knowing that there weren't those 3 giants in the box just heading the balls away. Obviously, we know Mancini, Smalling and the Banyas are very good in the air. And this time they had just Lorente and Smalling, so they really tried to capitalize over there.
Mourinho has been talking about moving away from the 3 at the back formation.
Has he?
Yeah. he likes playing with four at the back, but he believes it requires more quality to play with four at the
okay.
back, which is true.
Yeah,
It's true.
it is true. I think the three at the back suits Roma right now,
It-
but
it
maybe
does, it does.
long term, he's looking to change things up. Maybe he sees more success with the four at the back
You look
next
at how
year.
thin the squad has become with injury and form issues. A three at the back formation would probably suffice.
Yeah, no, I think it could. Obviously, I'm not criticizing Mourinho for starting with four at the back. We know he put all of his chips in the Europa League table. We know that long term that might not be that sustainable. They are playing Sevilla in the final.
He was fuming when he found out that Juve were docked points and they had a chance the entire time.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
Like he's right.
Yeah,
You can't say that Mourinho wasn't right
course.
about that. He was intelligent to say, all right, ditch this, go for this, because we're not gonna make this. Why are we gonna keep training our asses off, getting more injuries, getting more fatigued players on the chance that we'll miss out of both of them? He put his chips in one basket. At the end of the day, it's what a manager has to decide.
Yeah.
One positive that Roma fans can take away from this result is that once again El Shaarawy found himself on the score sheet. How good has he been in the past few games for Roma, bro?
Look, he's been productive. Good, I'm not sure. Good, because I don't really watch El Shaarawy and think like, wow, this guy is really making the difference. I think he's a cog in Mourinho's system and his productivity isn't bad. But for example, I've seen links with him returning to Milan on a boss man, on a free transfer. And that is something that I think would not improve Milan greatly at all, El Shaarawy. I think it would be a Messias level. I think Messias could be doing what El Shaarawy is doing at Roma, for example.
I think I disagree a little bit, man. I think he has a bit more quality about him, El Shaarawy. He has way more experience in the league as well. And I think he's shown his quality in the past few games. He's very versatile. He's been playing as a left wing back. He's been playing as a left winger. We see him cutting in a lot and finding himself in front of the goalkeeper or in dangerous areas. I think as a squad player, he's an asset to anyone, to be fair, especially if Milan, for example, are getting rid of Rebic. Then he's a good guy to get in on a free.
Perhaps it just depends on who else there is, because what we've learned, bro, from supporting Milan is that you might have Leao, for example, but these guys get hurt, bro.
Yeah,
these
of
guys
course.
play all the time, and they will get hurt. So your reserves are people that at the end of the day, if you are facing someone in a Champions League semi-final, you're going to have to rely on them. Because coming into the season, I thought, Milan have great squad depth. They've got Pobega, they've got Rebic, they've got Origi. But once Ben Nasser got injured, Leao got injured, Giroud's unavailable, and you're lining up with these guys, you come to realize they're not good enough. It's one thing if they're young, like Pobega, he's young, you give him time, whatever. But at this point, like Rebic and Origi, like they're dead weight. And you look at El Shaarawy as well. I wouldn't want to be going into a big game with El Shaarawy as my winger personally, in any situation.
Yes and no, as a second choice. Again, I think having a versatile backup choice is ideal. Like we saw Mourinho managed to utilize him very well this year. It's like, I think it's a fact that he was utilized well this year. He had a good season and he did his job. Be it when Spinazzola was injured, he stepped in as a left wing back. Be it him stepping in as a left wing when they were playing with one striker. I think, to be honest, he did a good job. Would he be my first choice for Milan? No. But if the choice is him or Rebic, I know who I'm choosing.
Yeah.
With all due respect to Rebic, who's given us many good moments. But I don't think it'd be a bad shout for Milan, El Shaarawy.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. Shout out to Toyota, Roma's new sponsors. They have a fantastic, a really, really beautiful full tracksuit that I really want to get my hands on.
What up, Toyota?
What up, Toyota? Sponsor us. But these teams both find themselves in European Cup finals. Fiorentina, obviously, in the Conference League playing West Ham. Roma in the Europa League playing against Sevilla. Do you predict any success for either of these teams?
Mourinho has never lost a final. He's played in 5 finals and won them all. Sevilla own the Europa League. What a game that's going to be.
It's going to be beautiful, man.
For the Conference League, okay, so I'm backing Roma to win the Europa League.
Okay.
Conference League.
I think Fiorentina beat West Ham.
I think West Ham might just edge it.
Who gets the goal? Is it
goal?
our guy?
Our guy is who's our guy?
Oh yeah. Former Milan, future Milan number 9.
Wait, for future Milan number 9, West Ham.
Yes.
Scamacca, he's injured.
Yes.
He's injured.
Oh, he's injured for the game.
Stagione finito, bro. Come on. Fucking no.
Then they're done, bro.
They're done. They've got that guy, no, Antonio.
Yeah,
I heard he cuts hair really well.
Antonio's barber shop in Malta, in case I don't know, you guys took it a certain way or some shit.
Yeah. No, I don't know. I really hope that Fiorentina get it done. And I think they will be fired up because that loss against Inter in the Coppa Italia final, which we forgot to mention.
I mentioned it though.
Oh, you did? Nice, you're the man. Good shit. Yes, the loss will have pumped them up. They don't want that to happen again.
No.
West Ham, on the other hand, had a terrible domestic season, so they're going to want to do all they can to get their hands on a trophy. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but before I get into exactly where they are in the table, great season for Fiorentina. I know they started very, very slowly in the league. It was very disappointing.
Who would have thought, right?
Whoa. They made 2 finals. They could have gotten the double, man. They could still get 1 trophy. Italiano, Fiorentina, what a brand of football they play. I'll be rooting for them for as long as that guy is there.
I need to get my hands on that kit.
Amrabat.
You know, man, I might go for Saponara again. No, I'm kidding. I've already got the Saponara kit. I can't do 2.
I quite like Mandragora, for example, bro. I really
I like Mandragora a lot.
Biragi.
Honestly, I don't even know who I'd go for.
Barak, man, maybe. Barak's a cool one.
Even Bonaventura, actually. A Bonaventura Fiorentina kit would be cool. Or Artur Cabral.
Igor is quite cool. Igor number 98. But anyway, I'm going to stop reading the entire squad list. Roma are in 6th on 60 points, while Fiorentina are in 9th on 53. Level on points with Torino, who are in 8th on 53. Just so you guys know, this race for 8th is a potential European spot. Because if Juve get 7th, and they are, or they get 6th or they get 5th, and they are excluded from Europe next year, that might open a slot in 8th place. Yes. So this 8th place is a little bit of a Hail Mary at the moment. Yeah. So these teams are suddenly really, really pushing. There's Monza with 52 points, Bologna with 51 points. This is juicier than you think, guys.
Yes, it is. Like the pomegranate. Lazio 3, Cremonese 2 for Lazio to confirm 2nd place. Lazio have won both of their seasonal meetings against Cremonese and Serie A, marking the 2nd time they have achieved this feat after the 1929-1930 season. I love these statistics that involve these obscure teams that are never in Serie A, because you go all the way back to the 30s. My nun right now will be like, I remember that one!
Who was it? For my memory so shit! I hate my memory! Shout out Nanu Joe. Your mind isn't going backwards. It was the 20s, my friend.
It was.
Relax. Take it easy.
You don't remember.
You're
because it was a long time ago. It's normal. Now, in Serie A, Lazio have a very strong record against Cremonese, winning 6 out of 7 of their home matches and scoring a total of 19 goals, an average of 2.7 goals per match. They have an impressive unbeaten streak of 36 home games against newly promoted teams in Serie A. Lazio have always destroyed these minnow sides.
Yeah.
They always blow them out of the water and they struggle against the bigger sides.
Yeah.
Opposite to like Milan, for example, and Inter, who tend to struggle and drop points against the lower sides and then beat the bigger sides.
Exactly.
Injuries and suspensions. Then Lazio's Cataldi was sidelined. Maricic underwent surgery for a sports hernia. If you add the word sports, apparently.
Yeah, it makes
sports
it not
hernia.
weird.
Yeah. All right, you have a hernia. Lala, how bad? You have a sports hernia. Okay. Cremonese had Dessers, Kirikes, and Benassi out on the treatment table.
We forgot to mention a massive congratulations to Lautaro Martinez, who just got married today, guys. He just got married. Congratulations, bro. Yes. What a year it's been for him.
What did the commentators say again?
Lautaro Martinez! He's getting married on Monday! so funny, bro.
But the honeymoon starts today!
But honestly, bro, World Cup winner. Even though he didn't have the best performances in the World Cup, fuck you. World Cup winner.
Champions League finalist.
Champions League finalist, and gets top 4 this year in Serie A and won the Coppa Italia. Lautaro Martinez, my friend. Congratulations.
Oh, yeah. And he's been playing very well, man.
He has
very
been.
well.
He has
a
been.
new kind of element to his game as well, the way he's dropping deep with Lukaku back there.
Exactly.
Now, for Lazio, it was a 4-3-3 formation. Classic Maurizio Sarri. Provedel was in goal with Hisai on the left and Lazzari on the right. It's literally a spectrum with Hisai scoring the goal, going all the way to Lazzari, who scored an own goal. Now, Romagnoli and Casale were the centre-back partnership. Luis Alberto, Vecino, and Milinkovic-Savic were in the middle, with Zaccagni out on the left, Pedro on the right, and Ciro Immobile up front. For Cremonese, it was Sarr in goal, Sir Nicola on the right, with Valeri on the left in their 5-3-2 formation, the three centre-backs being Ferrari, Bianchetti, and Lachosvili, fuck your name. Pickle, Meite, and Galdames were in the middle, with Saju and Ciofani up front. Lazio took the lead with El Said Hisai scoring from a tight angle. The goal was a result of a quick combination play involving Luis Alberto, Ciro Immobile, and El Said Hisai, with Hisai finishing confidently. This early goal allowed Lazio to settle into the match and to control the game. In the 37th minute, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic doubled Lazio's lead with a flick-on from Pedro's cross, a very smooth goal and potentially Sergej Milinkovic-Savic's last home game for Lazio ever. In the 54th minute, this is when Lazio began to chill and Cremonese switched up gear. Galdames pulled one back for Cremonese with a powerful right-footed strike from outside the area. And then in the 57th minute, there was a comical own goal by Lazio's Lazzari, bringing Cremonese level. A cross came in, Lazzari literally got a touch on it and ended up in the back of the net. Like
Slow motion,
back of the net own goal. Lazio panic. They were like, we have to score now. We have to score. They're pushing. Wasteful. 89th minute, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic scored his second goal of the game, securing a late victory for Lazio. It was a header this time, and there aren't many better people to cross to than to Sergej Milinkovic-Savic. That's not actually the last important thing that happened, as in the 95th minute, Lazio gave away a free kick. Sarri flipped out. God knows what he said. That guy can say some things.
And he has said some things, man. That guy.
Bro, honestly, Google Maurizio Sarri controversial statement.
God.
Google that.
I'm gonna Google one right now.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Sarri controversial statement. I'm gonna read the first one that comes up. 2016 Napoli manager Maurizio Sarri calls Inter Milan manager at whoa.
We can't say that.
He called Mancini something related to his sexuality. Let's just put it that way. That's back in 2016.
Yes, and then he made statements later on saying, I am not sexist, homophobic, or racist. Like the fact that you have to say you're not all three of those things. I'm just saying here, no accusations being made.
Nothing, no accusations. Anyway.
Bro, man, Lazio's pre-match celebrations included a parade of the 2013 Coppa Italia winning team and a tribute to Stefano Radu, who was retiring after 15 years at the club. So, Radu, they were really sad scenes, bro. And Radu is actually a legend for Lazio. He's played over 500 games over the
Has he played over 500
over
games?
400 games, sorry.
How many games does Rado have for Lazio?
He's got 427 games for Lazio, including 5 goals.
And he was on loan with them for 11 matches, so that's 438.
Yeah, dude, he's been there since 2008, dude. He's been there since 2008, Radu, so it's very emotional. He was very, very good. He brought a new dynamic when he joined and has still been deployable in recent years. I mean, growing up, I watched Lazio, there's Radu.
Yeah. And they only signed him for 1 million for Dynamo Bucharest.
But then the permanent fee was 3.5 million. They signed him for 1 million on loan and then an additional 3.5. So 4.5 million. Back then it was a little bit more, but very, very worth it.
Yeah,
You got yourself a legend.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Shout out to Radu.
So you can see his teammates throwing him up in the air at the end of the game. Nice scenes, and happy to see him leaving on a high.
Yeah, the best season Lazio have had in a very long time, since 2013 when they won the Coppa Italia, and it's good to see that was Radu's last season. He gets to leave on a bit of a high.
Do you think they got complacent, Lazio, and that's why Cremonese fought back into this game?
I mean, absolutely. We know that Cremonese are never down and out in a game because every goal means the world to them. Their next objective is just to get a goal in the game, especially against a big team like Lazio that it was pretty much confirmed that they were getting Champions League already. So a bit of complacency from Lazio as Cremonese continue. Perhaps they weren't expecting that level of pressure. And then, obviously, after one goal is conceded, it put a bunch of pressure on Lazio, which led to a comical own goal by Lazzari. So that's the way it went down.
Yeah, and then thankfully they managed to get one at the end to make Radu's sending off even more special for him. Lazio have actually secured second place, meaning that they will be playing in the Supercoppa Italiana. The Supercoppa Italiana is being played, somewhere in the Middle East.
Okay,
basically somewhere in the Middle East. And it's between 4 teams, basically. I think it's...
because they introduced that new structure rather than it being just the winner of the Coppa against the winner of the league. They introduced a preliminary game. Exactly.
Yeah, of the Coppa and of the league. Precisely. So they will be traveling to the Middle East to play. Napoli will also be going. Inter and Fiorentina will also be there, I believe.
The games are being played in Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia becoming quite a spectacle for football. Obviously signing Cristiano Ronaldo, doing quite well in the World Cup after they beat Argentina in the group stages and then got knocked out. Karim Benzema might be on the way there, by the way.
Oh my God.
He's being linked to a move to Saudi Arabia. So, yeah, becoming quite a stage for football, and they have got magnificent stadiums over there.
Yeah, really pleased to see Cremonese's valiant effort in trying to get something out of this game instead of giving up when all hope is gone for them anyway.
Yeah.
And they're basically out and they have nothing to fight for. Lazio, it's worrying to see a lapse in concentration, but perhaps, it's forgivable looking at the situation over here. And they actually managed to pull it back. They managed to actually turn their fortune around in this game. Now, Lazio are in second with 71 points. Excuse me if I've previously said that they've confirmed second spot. It's still up for grabs, of course, as Inter have 69 points actually, so they can nick that from them. Cremonese, on the other hand, have no hope of achieving anything at all. They are in 19th spot with 24 points.
The next game we're going to be covering is Bologna 2, Napoli 2. The previous encounter was a 3-2 victory for Napoli. The Partenopei were still hoping to beat Maurizio Sarri's club record of 91 points, but Elmas was suspended with Politano, Lozano and Rui out injured. The hosts wanted 8th place for the European potential, with Orsolini sitting out a ban, Roberto Soriano and Sao Mauro on the treatment table. Bologna lined up in their 4-2-3-1 formation with Skorupski in goal and the backline of Cambiaso, Lukumi, Bonifazi and Posch, double pivot of Dominguez and Schouten in the middle with Barrow on the left, Abishar on the right and Ferguson playing behind Arnautovic. For Napoli it was their classic 4-3-3 formation, as Gollini started in goal with a backline of Berezinski, Rahmani, Minjay and Oliveira, and Guissa, Lobotka and Zielinski were in the middle with Zerbin, Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia playing up front. In the 14th minute, Osimhen opened the scoring. The ball was put on a plate for the Nigerian as Skorupski passed the ball directly to the Nigerian, who finished easily. It genuinely looked like a match-fixing scandal.
That looks like match-fixing. All right there, bro. That's true. I was about to say.
It's honestly one of the worst blunders I've seen, and it's uncharacteristic of Skorupski, which makes it all the more concerning because he's so good with the ball at his feet typically. That's very out of character for him.
Yeah.
Moments later, the Polish shot stopper denied Osimhen with a spectacular one-handed save from a volley, and later on in the game where he got down well to deny the Nigerian from a point-blank header. So maybe he did make up for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe letting in a goal like that, there's nothing you can do to make up for it. In the 54th minute, Osimhen got his second of the game and Napoli's second. It was Berezinski's through ball that found him, and he finished expertly through the legs of Skorupski. In the 62nd minute, Ferguson pulled one back. The Scotsman finished into an empty net after Gollini denied Sansone with a great save. And in the 84th minute, substitute De Silvestri rose highest to capitalise from a very well delivered corner by Sansone. Bologna becoming very, very dangerous from these corners, from these set pieces as well. They have Sansone, they have Orsolini, they've got Soriano as well. They've got a bunch of guys that can whoop it in, and whoop it in they did. De Silvestri. I knew
he barely got a sniff this season.
Literally, and he's aged into a centre back in a three at the back formation. There's no way he'll bomb down the right the way he used to back in the day. But still pulling the strings over here and getting Bologna a good point. Sansone had the ball in the net during stoppage time, but Berezinski had stopped the run to catch him in an offside position. Very good defending there by the vice of Di Lorenzo. Great reaction by Bologna. Napoli could have killed the game off earlier and they had many an opportunity to do so. But Bologna stayed in the game. A couple good saves by Skorupski after that blunder. And they stayed there, and they're always dangerous to play against. Bologna, no matter what minute it is. Great reaction from them.
Yeah, totally. They played a very good game, bro, against the reigning champions who must be playing constantly hungover nowadays. Like Kvaratskhelia hasn't been, like, since Milan played against Napoli in the quarterfinals, I don't think Kvara has had a goal or an assist.
Literally.
He's really dipped.
Osimhen's still playing.
Osimhen's still playing well. I wanted to also say, bro, because De Silvestri has a special place in my heart. I loved him in his Torino days. Very happy for him. He's a great man and
He is a great man.
He's a great figure in the locker room, everyone says. Great leader, humanitarian apparently as well, does a lot off the pitch. And you can see how much that goal meant to them, like in the celebration. And that's it's so pure, it's what we love about football, these emotions that you see like coming out of people, out of nowhere. Like, who would have thought? This guy probably thought the season was terrible. I didn't play, I didn't even do anything. And then boom, match day 37, he scores a goal against the league winners.
Exactly. And yeah, with the crowd all there, at home to celebrate his goal, to celebrate a goal quite late on as well in the 84th minute. It's a special moment for him, and really happy to see that. I love it when good things happen to good people, man.
Yeah.
We mentioned that Victor Osimhen is still playing. Obviously, he's in a strong position for the Capocannoniere title. And aside from that, according to Gazzetta dello Sport, the Nigerian will earn an additional 260k euros if he scores 30 goals for the Partenope in the 2022-2023 season. He is currently on, how many goals is Osimhen currently on?
20-something.
I'm going to find out right now. Don't you worry, don't fret. He's currently on 25, so he does need to score 5 goals in the last match of the season. So boo-hoo, he's not getting an additional 260k.
He'll score 4 and De Laurentiis will make a phone call to have him subbed off.
Exactly, literally. Napoli were aiming to beat Maurizio Sarri's club record of 91 points. Obviously, Sarri got that with Juve when they won the league, but they fell short. Though their 87 points under manager Luciano Spalletti equaled Spalletti's personal best achieved with Roma in 2017 when they came second to Sarri's Juventus, who got 91.
Yeah.
So a lot of we tend to forget these little personal battles that the managers would have that want to outdo these records that aren't typically spoken about by pundits because all the focus is on the 22 players on the pitch. But there are these interesting little side battles that we see.
Course.
I think Spalletti will still be happy with 87 points, although I think this Napoli side, had they taken the end a little bit more seriously, they could have been the team that won the Serie A with the largest points possible, but they didn't manage to do that this year.
Yeah. I thought they would.
It's the same. I mean, you
The
look
way things were going.
how dominant they were for the first fucking 33 games of the season.
Yeah.
And then obviously they won the league and they got a bit lackadaisical. Maybe if the competition was a bit higher, they would have gotten it. Funnily enough.
the gap.
Maybe they would have gotten 91 points if there was still everything to play for.
Yes.
Maybe if Milan were stronger, or Inter were stronger, or Roma were stronger, Juve didn't get docked the points, that keep trying.
Yeah.
Bologna's race for 8th place is looking pretty difficult now after Torino and Fiorentina both secured victories. As I mentioned, 8th place may be quite pivotal in case Juve get excluded from European football. I wonder if they would have been aware of that, since Juve got docked those 15 points back in the day, back in, I think it was like January or February, where these teams would have known that 8th spot could potentially get them something. Do you think they were aware? And do you think they'd really be gunning for that 8th spot?
I mean, these guys know how Italy is more than we know how Italy is. Now, when it comes to this shit, the fact that bureaucracy is so bad and they're so reckless with these penalizations in the middle of the season and just revoking and then giving them again. I'm sure people have been aware that 8th spot is very important. The fact you see Torino, Fiorentina, and Monza and Bologna are really pushing for it.
Yeah, then you see teams like Udinese who took their foot off the gas so hard, man, after that spectacular
They ran
start
out
to the
of fuel
season.
immediately, like it's crazy.
Literally. Not much to add about this game. Obviously, we have Napoli that already the league winner, so props to them. Bologna fighting for that 8th place, even though it's not looking very likely for them, with Torino, Fiorentina, and Monza all ahead of them, okay, by 1 point and 2 points for Torino and Fiorentina. But Napoli win the league on 87 points, Bologna on 11th on 51 points.
Verona 1, Empoli 1 is the next game we are going to be discussing. Stojanovic managed to shaft Verona at the death. Okay, he had no business scoring. It really didn't matter for Empoli, didn't matter for him, but he took it upon himself to fuck these guys and to stop them from achieving safety against his club, because he was having it at the end, man, shot after shot, and he was pressing and driving. He really wanted to end their joy, basically. Verona and Empoli have accumulated the same number of points in Serie A in 2023, with each team earning 25 points from 21 matches, with 6 wins, 7 draws and 8 losses. However, Empoli have actually scored 7 more goals than Verona during this period, finding the net 24 times compared to Verona's 17 times.
Oh, that's actually super interesting. I had no idea they got the same amount of points in 2023.
Hey, it's all about that Hellas Verona great start to 2023, where they climbed those bottom positions a bit, and Empoli's super slow start.
Yeah, with Lazovic's form and Gonch coming in.
Verdi.
Yeah.
Who didn't even feature this game. Weird. Why don't you play him? He must have been fucking
livid,
hard on the bench, just waiting to go on.
Full of testosterone.
Yeah. Hellas Verona and Empoli have a closely contested head-to-head record in Serie A. Out of the 11 previous meetings, each team has won 4 matches and 3 matches ended in draws. The 2 most recent encounters both ended 1-1. Now, for injuries and suspensions, there's a myriad. For Verona, their injury list stretches from the likes of Lazovic, Lasagna, Doig to the likes of Tomas Henry, Davidovic and Andre Duda. They also had Bandinelli and Parisi out injured, while Empoli had Marin De Winter injured, and Caputo was absent due to flu symptoms. Flu symptoms?
Classic, man. Classic. There's always one every week that has these flu symptoms.
Flu
man.
Symptoms?
He has a runny nose, like.
You have the flu.
Don't
go flu symptoms.
Well, to be fair, bro, these are all hangovers.
These are all hangovers.
After that 4-1 victory against Juve. And Caputo was the first
one.
He
probably didn't play because he might get drug tested.
Bro, he was doing cocaine. I'm gonna take that back. People think I'm accusing him of taking cocaine, but he would have partied his guts out, definitely, man. Rightly so.
It's part of the banter that comes along with this podcast.
Exactly.
Guys, right?
Love Caputo.
Love him. Ciccio Caputo. Verona. 3-5-2 formation. Montepo on goal. Cabal, Hien and Magnani at the back. De Pauli was the left wing back. Terracciano was the right wing back. Tamese, Veloso and Sulemana from Love Island, Malta were in the middle.
I was about to say.
Ngonja and Juric were up front. Vicario was in goal for Empoli. Abuehi on the right, Cacace on the left, Luperto and Ismaili were the centre-back partnership. The OGs will remember Cacace and how much we struggled to figure out how his name's pronounced.
Liberatore Cacace.
Cacace. Is it Cacace? Is it Chachache?
Casace.
Yeah.
Sasase.
It's Cacace. Apparently, we used to call him Libby.
Yeah.
Akpa Akpro was the right winger, Cambiaghi was the left winger, and Fazzini was playing behind the selfish Piccoli.
You were going to say formidable, weren't you?
No, I was going to say selfish. Because he's selfish, dude. Now, in the first half, basically, there were just a bunch of missed opportunities. There was Ngonj, who missed a chance after Luperto made a mistake. Ngonj had another attempt on Vicario. Montepo denied Cacace and Cabal. Ngonj missed another header. Eboué, he had a free header. It was,
my God,
a bad miss. He headed it down to the ground.
Unlike him.
Towards goal, yes. And then in the second half, they decided to bring on Gaich, former Benevento man, Bayern Munich youth product, and he scored in the 62nd minute after rebounding Vicario's save on Ngonj's powerful long-range shot. Gaich was fueled with adrenaline, took off his top, everyone ran onto the pitch. It's the 62nd minute. Relax, yes, there's still a lot to play for, and I think that's what fueled Stojanovic with this vengeance. They were defending well, Verona, to be honest. They were defending very well. But then Empoli's late pressure was just too much for them. 96th minute equalizer by Stojanovic, who shoots it. Quite powerful, but mostly well placed. It took a slight deflection of Magnani, and it ended up in the back of the net.
It's listed as an own goal, as a Magnani own goal.
Yeah. For me, that's not really an own goal.
Yeah, then I would agree with you there.
Yeah. Verona, bro, they missed a great opportunity to secure safety.
I mean, yes, bro, but isn't it the classic tale of Verona, who really struggle to get 3 points in any game that they play? I mean, they did pretty much with what they have available, and with their lack of quality this year, they literally did the best that they could. They got that goal, they defended to the best of their abilities. Then it took a slight deflection to get Empoli back in the game in the 95th minute. Very, very unfortunate for Verona, but that's football, man. That's football, and I really don't think Verona have been good enough this year. They could still survive, you never know in football, but wow, this season should be, if they survive, a massive, massive wake-up call for Verona.
Honestly, though, there isn't a better team to play than Empoli right now. This match, they match day 37. In 2 weeks, they confirmed survival, and then they beat Juve 5-1, 4-1. Now, these guys, not to mention, okay, so they had those 2 feats, they must have partied like crazy, right? They must have celebrated, and had days off, they're rewarded with days off. They also had their key players out, man. Look at this, they had Bandinelli and Parisi unavailable. They had Baldanzi out. Martin and De Winter out, Caputo out. Like, you have to beat these guys. You have to get the win here if you want to play in Serie A. And I'm sorry, they don't deserve it. And probably Spezia, who are woeful, deserve it more to be in Serie A.
Probably, man. Probably. Verona have been abysmal this year. All season.
Because Spezia have done it against all odds. Transfer ban, relegation favourites for 3 seasons in a row. They survive every year. 1, 2, 3. Can they do the 4th? Verona are definitely making it easier for them.
To be honest, I hope that Spezia stay up, because Verona are very infuriating. Not the individuals on the pitch, because there's only so much the individuals could do. With the replacement in manager, with them losing their key personnel, losing Ilic halfway through the season, losing players like Caprari and Simeone, and then there's the classic list that we always forget a player or two because there are so fucking many. Yeah. But honestly, the businessmen that are behind Verona deserve this financial burden of them getting relegated.
Definitely, bro. The final round, of course, we have Verona against Milan, Spezia against Roma. Who do you think goes down, bro? Yeah, there's one match day to go. Who do you think goes down?
It depends if it goes to that two-legged playoff, man. If it goes to that two-legged playoff, it's 50-50. It's as simple as that. And that two-legged playoff, it could be Verona get it done. I don't think Verona get it done. I think Spezia are simply they're both so rubbish, man. This
They're
year,
both
aren't
so
they, man?
shit, yeah.
They both really are bad. Like, because when Spezia have an off day, I think if it goes down to if they finish equal on points, Verona get it done over Spezia.
Probably. I mean, they have more quality.
I think so.
Yeah. And
It's
that's really
tight, don't get me wrong, but I think if it goes down to this two-legged match, Verona get it done.
It totally depends on what Nzola does that game.
Exactly. I think if a team in the final match, they are capable of getting 1 point between Spezia against Roma away and Verona against Milan away, then Spezia are more likely to get points against Roma, who are focusing on the final coming up.
That's a good point. Empoli are in 14th with 43 points, while Verona are in 18th with 31 points, level on points with Spezia in 17th. Crazy.
Yeah, and speaking about Spezia, they just lost 4-0 at home against Torino. The previous encounter, however, was an away victory against Torino with the score of 1-0. As Jake has correctly pointed out, Spezia are level on points with Verona, ahead on a direct encounter, but obviously this change in system means that if they do end up both getting a loss or both getting a point or both getting a victory and they have the same points, then it will go down to this two-legged playoff. The hosts were a point above Verona in the drop zone and had Amiens back from suspension, but Mattia Caldara joined them at home, João Moutinho and Jacopo Sala on the treatment table. Toro were still in with a shout of 8th place and a potential Conference League qualification, but Radonjic was out injured for them. For Spezia, it was a 3-5-2 formation with Drangowski in goal and the backline of Nicolau, Ampado and Wisniewski. Reka started on the left with Amiens on the right and a midfield three of Ekdal, Esposito and Burabia, with Inzola and Giassi playing up front. We hadn't seen that in a while, Giassi being played anywhere in the midfield. It's refreshing to see these two up front together just because of the history that they have up front together. Torino lined up in a 3-4-2-1 formation with Vanya in goal and the backline of Shores, Bongiorno and Rodriguez. They had Singo out on the right, Voivod out on the left and Ilic and Ricci in the middle. What a lovely midfield two that is. Miranchuk on the right, Vlasic on the left and Sanabria up front. That is actually such a nice team, man, that Torino have.
Yeah.
In the 14th minute, Miranchuk almost opened the scoring with a lovely left-footed curler which hit the woodwork. In the 23rd, Torino got the first goal of the game as Wisniewski scored an own goal. Ilic's well-delivered corner found Singo, whose strike deflected in off the arm of Wisniewski, going down as an own goal. Spezia were awarded a penalty in the 34th minute when Bongiorno pulled back Inzola by the arm. However, after a VAR review, the penalty decision was revoked as there was a prior handball by Giassi before the foul on Inzola. As a result, the initial penalty decision was overturned and instead a free kick was awarded to Torino. In the 46th minute, still in the first half, Voivoda hit the post after some trickery and a long-range low drive. Would have been his first goal in more than 2 years, and it would have been nice to see him get it. In the 71st minute, it took until the 71st minute for Torino to make it 2, and it was Ricci this time. A magical goal by Torino, brilliant work by Sanabria to skip past his opponents and give the ball to Vlasic. Vlasic found Ricci intelligently, centrally just inside the area, who finished into the top corner, leaving Drangowski rooted to the spot. Just 4 minutes later, in the 75th minute, Ilic got a goal. Vlasic found Ilic from the byline, who finished in the bottom corner of the near post. Ex-Verona player doing his former team as solid. That's 2 assists by Vlasic in a row, by the way, as well. Great performance by him. In the 96th minute, Karamo made it 4 thanks to a Sanabria assist. A Torino counter-attack resulted in a 3v2 situation where Sanabria played Karamo through, who finished into the bottom corner. Now, pretty much, unfortunately, the talking points are all revolving around what we just spoke about Verona and Spezia, and formerly what we said about the race to 8th spot. So the only thing I have really to mention in this game is another unfortunate incident that happened in Serie A. Once again, it seems like it's happening week after week. We saw it happen in Spain with Vinicius Jr. as well. We've seen it happen in the Premier League as well this season, with all these racist chants and racist banners and whatever taking place in the pitch. I was happy to see that in a Premier League match, certain individuals who were shouting racist chants, so on and so forth, to certain players were identified and they were handed lifetime bans. They did it in Germany as well. They did it in Spain. They did it in England. Come on, Serie A. Come on,
I'm
Serie
sure you
A.
have the technology to identify the offenders, ban them from the stadium for life, and that will stop people from doing it because people want to go back to the stadium.
They could Allah give us 7 angles of how the ball didn't cross the line. You can't identify some guys in the pitch, man. The players are pointing at them. This is what happened. So during the match, an unfortunate incident occurred as some Spezia fans behind the Torino bench, so very close to the stadium, directed racist abuse at Torino coach Ivan Juric. The match was temporarily halted just before halftime, and Giassi, a player from Spezia, approached his own fans and urged them to stop the abusive behaviour. A statement was read over the loudspeaker addressing the incident, and play eventually resumed. This incident highlighted the ongoing issue of racism in football and its negative impact on the game. Hopefully these individuals will be identified, banned for life, and maybe even spat on. Because fuck these motherfuckers, why do you go to games? You're a Spezia fan, and you expect not to see your team lose 4-0 against Torino, who are miles ahead of your club this season. You're gonna go there, and you're just gonna hurl abuse at one of the most talented managers in the league, an absolute gentleman as well. You're gonna direct abuse towards him.
Yeah, it's unacceptable, and it's hypocritical, because when it comes to racial abuse, you can find every race in every football game.
Exactly.
It's so stupid. Like, if you're racially abusing the opposition, then you're racially abusing your own boys, the boys on the field, the boys representing the club you love. So it's hypocritical and it's dumb. On the topic of, so Torino, a really good season, much improved, great project they have going on, signing decent young players. I like the way their project is going. Spezia, do you know how much Robert Platek, born to a Polish family, American owner, bought Spezia for in 2021?
A monthly payment of $3.99. Patreon.
The price of
behind the scenes content, FIFA content. Come on, I'm gonna be.
You get to see the process of me drawing the cover art.
Oh man, it's just $3.99. Like, get yourself off of McDonald's and get yourself on our Patreon. But no, tell them, bro.
You want to guess? 2021, he bought Spezia.
2021? Oh, I don't know, bro. I'll honestly throw the most random figure out.
24 million euros. Not that much.
24 million euros.
That's how small Spezia are on the grand scale of things. 24
That's
million euro, he bought the club. 24 million euro, you buy a player, like, not a club, you know? Just goes to show the levels over here. And Verona should not be anywhere near these guys. And that's why I want them to go down, because they deserve to be punished for the mismanagement of that team. But
exactly. Just for context, you get 25 million if you get promoted from Serie B to Serie A. In the Premier League, you get 100 million, by the way, just for comparison's sake.
Inzaghi is worth more than Spezia.
Literally. No, 100%. Nowadays, I think their price would have gone up.
Yes.
Well, it depends, because they might be a Serie B team.
They don't have Saponara anymore.
And they don't have Saponara anymore, or any of the great managers that they had before, man, because they
had a few. That's what they have. They've always managed to recruit the right people. Semplici, not a big fan, but Motta and Italiano were fantastic.
Yes. And come on, to own a team in La Spezia, such a beautiful, beautiful space in Italy, man.
Yeah.
That should, to be honest, increase their value. That's where the 24 million came from, I think.
Totally.
Torino, 8th place, 53 points. Current leaders in that race to 8th place, whilst Spezia 17th place on 31 points, level with Verona in 18th.
You confused me. I'm going to have to start the podcast all over again now. The next game we're going to be covering was the dramatic, exciting, incredible Monza 0, Lecce 1.
This is why you have to listen to our entire episodes.
These games.
It's so tough to choose which ones come first. If it were up to us, this might have been the first one, bro, genuinely.
It is up to us.
It is up to us, but you know, bro, sometimes you just have to do stuff.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do things.
You have to
keep everyone happy.
Like,
there's
been a goal!
There's been a goal!
91st minute. Fucking Süttirol have scored. Is that Rover?
Oh my god.
Rover! It's Rover, dude!
This is my dog, Rover. I found him in the dustbin.
6 goals in 28 games for Sütterol. Yes, so Sütterol have taken the lead against Bari, guys.
My
In
god.
the semi-final of the playoffs. Sütterol, dude.
They had their chances as well, dog,
Yeah.
in this game. Jesus.
Wow.
Nice.
Sorry
Nice.
for
What a
the-
story.
Sorry to interrupt the show
Yeah.
like that, but we've got the game on and it's been 0-0 this entire time. Of course, there's still the second leg that needs to take place in Bari.
Yeah. But massive step in the right direction for Sütterol.
Yes, this match had high stakes. By the way, going back to Monza Lecce,
Yeah.
Monza 0, Lecce 1. There was last-minute penalty drama for both teams. Okay, let's get down to it. Of course, Monza were looking at that 8th place for the potential Conference League qualification, while Lecce are fighting for survival, as we've discussed many a time. So injuries and suspensions affected both lineups. Caldirola was out, Dermaku was out, and Hjulmand had to play for Lecce with a muscle injury. He came on
God.
in the second half, but they were desperate. They need their main man. You know, Hjulmand is the guy.
Yeah.
The guy over there.
He's
Now-
the glory.
Now, Lecce took quite a defensive stance in this game, of course. Monza dominated the possession. They had 74% ball possession, but Lecce were tight-knit and they barely let any shots through. So it seemed like they were going for anything over here, even a point, you know, just to distance themselves from those two rubbish teams.
Yeah, literally.
Spezia and
Literally.
Verona. So we have Monza lining up with their usual 3-4-1-2 formation with Di Gregorio on goal. Itzomari and Marlon were at the back, with Carlos Augusto on the left and Churia on the right, Pessina and Rovella in the middle, with Dani Mota playing behind Caprari and Petagna. For Lecce, it was usual 4-3-3 formation. Do I even need to say the back line?
Literally.
It's the usual guys, right? It's Falcone, Jean-Dre, Baschirotto, Umtiti Gallo, Askilson, Blin, Udin, Strefezza on the right, Banda on the left, and Cisse up front for this one. So yes, it was a tight game. Of course, Lecce shut up shop well. Monza tried to attack. They dominated the possession, 74% to Lecce's 26%, but they barely had a shot. The real action and penalty drama started in the 91st minute when Baschirotto mistimed his tackle on Colpani, giving away a penalty. It needed a VAR review. Gitkier stepped up and Falcone saved the penalty. What a hero. Massive moment. Lecce are like, oh my god, we can still get a point. We can survive. Little did they know that in the 101st minute, Gitkier would give away a penalty by handling the ball in the area. Lorenzo Colombo, the youngster, speaking of baby bombers, that's a baby bomber right there.
Yeah.
Lorenzo Colombo on loan from Milan. He stepped up. Lots of pressure with the fans right behind the goal.
A long wait as
Long
usual,
wait.
man.
He shoots and he scores to confirm Lecce's safety, and the scenes were immaculate. You know, you see the manager collapse to his knees. He
couldn't
even
watch, man,
watch. He couldn't
Baroni.
even watch. It was just an amazing spectacle to watch, and I'm very happy that Lecce have stayed up because they've been good. They've been organized, and there's clearly potential over here. And with a few installments in the team, I like the fact that they have consistency. They have the personnel that they rely on. Now all they need is to bring in a few pieces and try to hold on to what they have.
Yeah. Look, they've got a great goalkeeper. It's no secret as well. I'm a massive fan of Falcone. I thought he should have been Sampdoria's number one ahead of Audero. That's how good I think he is. Audero's a
Yes.
fine goalkeeper. That back line, Jean-Dre, Baschirotto, Umtiti and Gallo, I mean, it's not easy to just get promoted as a team and show all your faith in four guys with only one real installment in Umtiti. Jean-Dre, Baschirotto and Gallo are Lecce players through and through. Even Askilson, Blin and Udan. Udan was the only player brought in. Strefezza, Banda, Cisse.
Not to
They
mention
did it with their
Hjulmand.
guys, man. Hjulmand. They did it with their guys. Di Francesco.
Yeah.
So that's why I like them. And they were super solid. Very good from set pieces with Baschirotto towering over everyone. And they just did what they had to do. They had a very tough time in the second half of the season. They had a very good start to the season. That first game against Inter, where they had all those injuries in defense, and Inter only managed to find a late goal to get the victory over them. They had shut up shop really well. They did a great job after that, gave everyone a tough time. And they got their special moment. Okay, it took a depressing couple of moments for one of the Monza players in Gitkier, who didn't have many chances
Man of the
this
match
season.
for Lecce.
Man of the match for Lecce, definitely missing the penalty and then giving away a penalty that they converted.
What was the video Monza had put up on social media? One kiss is all
It
it takes.
fall in love with me
Gitkier.
whenever
That's-
Gitkier scores.
Yes, Lecce have actually never conceded more than 2 goals in a game. That just goes to show how good their backline is. A few offensive changes, and they'll be good to go if they manage to hang on to everyone.
Yeah.
So yes, after this intense, dramatic encounter, the current standings are.
You're so good at this, bro.
Thank you very much. I'm sure everyone knows that. Like, look at this guy buying time. Lecce are in 16th with 36 points, while Monza are in 10th with 52 points. That 8th space is still up for grabs for them, depending on what Torino and Fiorentina do, of course.
Yeah. The penultimate game we're going to be covering was Salernitana's dramatic 3-2 victory over Udinese. This is what we fucking left for the end, man. All these bloody bangers. There's a 3-2 victory for Salernitana over Udinese. And Salerno, the previous encounter was a 0-0 draw between both these sides. Because of this victory, Salernitana confirmed that they'll be staying in Serie A for their 3rd consecutive season. Yeah, I mean, there was no doubt over there, I think, from both our ends. They've been so good. But the fact that they got a victory in this manner over Udinese just fucking confirmed that, to be honest. The hosts had Danilulic and Gyomber suspended, plus Fazio, Valencia, and top scorer Bulayedia injured. And then, as well, Lovato pulled out in the warm-up, adding to the issues. So everything was against Salernitana coming into this game. Udogie sat out a ban for the Fruilani with Isaac Success, Ebosse, Delafeu, Ezibwe and Pafundi unavailable. Salernitana played a 3-4-2-1 formation with Fiorillo on goal and a backline of Pirola, Trustekong and Bron. Mazzocchi on the left, Castanos on the right with Koulibaly and Vilena in the middle. Botheim started on the left of Piontek, Andreva on the right of Piontek, and guess who was up front? Piontek. Udinese played a 3-4-1-1 formation with Silvestri in goal and a backline of Perez, Bijol and Mazina. Pereira on the right, Ziegler on the left, good to see Ziegler. And a midfield trio of Samardzic, Wallace and Lovrich, with Thuvan playing behind Nestorovski, who features in the last 4 games of every season. Ziegler opened the scoring for Udinese in the 24th minute. It was Samardzic's strike that played ping-pong with 2 Salernitana defenders before falling to Sandy Lovrich, who intelligently chipped the ball through to Ziegler, who finished well. There even seemed to be a handball in the ping-pong moment on Bron, but advantage was played and Ziegler netted. In the 30th minute, just 6 minutes later, Nestorovski made it 2 for Udinese, Salernitana finding themselves 2-0 down at home just 30 minutes into the game. Thuvan unleashed Pereira with a super through ball and the captain unselfishly squared it to Nestorovski, who finished into an empty net. Just before halftime in the 42nd minute, however, Salernitana pulled one back through Castanos. Castanos left Silvestri rooted to the spot with a spectacular left-footed curling strike into the top corner from just inside the area after being found intelligently by Kandreva. In the 57th minute then, it was the assister that turned into goal scorer as Kandreva scored. It was Mazzocchi who laid off a free kick to Kandreva, who struck the ball cleanly with power into the keeper's direction and into the back of the net. Fantastic goal. It's not easy to beat Silvestri in that manner. In the 78th minute, Arslan had the opportunity to put Udinese back in front, but he missed an open goal, skying it after a square ball by Beto. In the 86th minute, Ziegler received his second yellow after losing possession and pulling Lervolino to the ground. Who would have thought that a red card in the 86th minute would change the game? It was the 96th minute that former Udinese player Trust Ekong scored after a Sambia assist. The scenes were absolutely immaculate. You are here watching the game with my good friend Adam Ryan, who works with me. He's a beautiful soul. I was showering because I had an all-nighter the night before, and I was absolutely disgusting. It was
similar to now, bro, because you smell like shit.
Ah, come on, bro, that's a tough day. A wonderful deep in-swinging cross by Sambia fell perfectly into the path of an oncoming Trust Ekong, who guided the ball in off the post to secure a last-minute victory for Salernitana against his former club. I doubt they would have been in any danger, but they celebrated as though they were in danger and that they got 3 points that secured survival for them.
Man, what a comeback. What a comeback. The Salernitana team this season has once again proven all the haters and all the doubters wrong. At the beginning of the season, I was re-listening to our first episode of our predictions, I had Salernitana to finish in that last relegation spot.
Oh, you
know?
idiot.
Yeah, it was between them and Spezia on my prediction. And I just edged Salernitana because of Spezia's street smarts to actually survive. I'm very happy to see that I was wrong because I have fallen in love with Salernitana.
Yeah.
Man. They're one of my favorite teams to watch. Their stadium's amazing. The fans are amazing. The vibes are impeccable. Through Stekong's goal at the end, it just shows the passion of Salerno and of all the people of Salerno and this team, man.
And of the storyline is just incredible because
he was there, right?
He was there, and
was
not
at
only
Watford.
was he there, but he had that whole Watford Udinese Pozzo
Yeah.
thing going on. So I think people that leave Udinese and leave Watford typically have a bad taste in their mouth because they're just used as pawns for these businessmen. I've been saying this a lot in this episode, going after the businessmen. But literally, they give opportunities for players to typically play in the top flight of Serie A and the top flight of the Barclays Premier League, but they'd have other opportunities elsewhere that I'm sure they'd be keen on exploring. Here's Trustekong exploring one of these opportunities and just shoving one up Pozzo's ass with that last minute goal, man.
Beautiful.
Kandreva's goal, Kandreva's assist. I mean, Kandreva, just when the stakes are high, Kandreva's a monster, bro, isn't he, man?
I let him go
love him.
on fantasy football and he exploded.
And for who? Tell them.
I took Lauriente instead.
And he dipped.
And he didn't get me a single goal or a single 5.5 after 5.5 after 5.5, bro, Lauriente. The worst Fanta Calcio trade I have ever made in my life. But anyway.
Yeah, you bottled it at Fanta. I took
I
that
did.
third place ahead of you. This is the first Fanta that Jake and I have participated in together that none of us won the league.
That's true. That's funny.
Yeah, but guess who won the league on our Fanta? Luke Mintoff. It's always a Serie A spotlight guy.
There we go, dude.
We have to be careful who we bring on the podcast next year because we want to win it, bro.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
But that's pretty much it for this game. I could go on all day about how much I love Salernitana and how Udinese have been bottling it recently. I mean, to be 2-0 down in the 30th minute and to go down the way that they did is quite disappointing for them, especially after they shut up shop so early. You'd think that they could control the game, but it did seem like there was a massive lapse in concentration. Udinese nothing to play for, while Salernitana, in their minds, they had something to play for. Whether it was because it was, even though it wasn't, mathematically confirmed, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't give it their 100%. And you would have thought that the 1-1 would have been enough in the 57th minute, but instead of shutting up shop and playing it safe, Ziegler gets a red card in the 86th and they just fucking go for it, bro. These deep balls into the box. Finally, it was Trustekong that found it and got the 3 points. Salernitana confirmed safe in 15th place on 42 points and only 4 points behind Udinese in 12th place. That's how tight it is from the bottom, in the bottom half of the table.
Totally, bro. Sampdoria 2, Sassuolo 2, a match that not many cared about this match day. Literally nothing to say here.
You just close off.
Thank you very much, guys. So Sassuolo have actually won 8 Serie A matches against Sampdoria. If you subscribe to our Patreon, you'll stop hearing planes in the background.
And that's one they won't realize, bro.
Sassuolo, yes, have won 8 Serie A matches against Sampdoria. That's the most victories they have achieved against any team in the competition. Sampdoria have won their last 2 Serie A matches against Sassuolo, even though they had previously won only 3 of their previous 17 encounters. Sampdoria...
You're putting every number in bold that you're saying. It's hilarious.
Sampdoria have kept a clean sheet in 3 of their last 4 home games against Sassuolo and Serie A after failing to do so in the previous 5 matches. There we go. Now, Stankovic Sampdoria lined up with their 3-4-1-2 formation with Turk from Tarzan in goal, Amione, Nuitink, and...
Oh, God!
Oikonumo. At the back. Yes, we'll go for Oikonumo. Okay.
I want to lock in those lyrics.
Wrong, it was I Sharona. Now, Augello was the left fullback, Zanoli was the right fullback, stacked in that department. Rincon, Harry Winks, and Leris in the middle. Then you start to understand why they're a bit, And then Quagliarella and Gabbiadini up front. And once again, it really paints the picture. They have no mobility. They really can't stretch defenses with Quagliarella and Gabbiadini up front.
Bro, once you said Harry Wanks instead of Harry Winks. And you've never said it again, but it was... What a moment that was.
Funny, bro. That's it. Harry Wanks, dude. Harry winks, but does he wank? Consigli was in goal for Sassuolo on their 4-3-3 formation with Zortea as the right back, Ehrlich and Ferrari as the centre backs, and Rogerio as the left back. Just look at the screenshot from who scored, bro. You've got Ehrlich with a red ball on his head and Ferrari with a red E on his head. Like, do these guys, are they cursed? What's up with their centre backs? Ehrlich isn't even bad. Like, and he just scores own goals, makes mistakes. I don't get it. Obiang, Thordsvet, and Henrique were in the middle with Berardi on the right, Seidi on the left, and Pinamonti up front. The match started with Sampdoria putting some early pressure on Sassuolo. They earned 2 corners in the first 2 minutes, with Oikonomu's header going wide on the second attempt. In the 8th minute, Gabbiadini took advantage of a mistake by Ferrari to give Sampdoria the lead. However, just moments later, Berardi equalized for Sassuolo on the 9th minute with a well-taken effort. Sassuolo quickly turned the game around as Henrique scored in the 11th minute, putting them ahead with just goal after goal after goal. Both teams had chances throughout the first half, with Gabbiadini hitting the post and Berardi hitting the crossbar. The second half saw fewer clear-cut chances, but Sampdoria managed to equalize in the 78th minute through an own goal by Ehrlich. The match ended in a 2-2 draw, meaning that both teams will share the spoils in a draw.
Yeah, absolutely nothing to play for in this game.
Nothing to play for, nothing to say. Just almost feels like these teams are testing out their players now. You know, I mean, you see Sassuolo fielding the likes of Seydes, Ortea at the back, Obiang in the midfield, while Sampdoria just, I think, are trying to get some value out of their players by hoping they get a goal at the end and they can be like, he's worth 5 million.
Exactly.
Not 2. Because he scored against Sassuolo at the end. All right. I mean, I don't really have talking points, bro, to be honest with you about this one.
Well, I'm not surprised. Again, this game had friendly written all over it, didn't it, man?
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Just a bunch of guys hanging out, playing some football. You know, both teams start with an S.
The S Derby.
Yes, the Sa Derby.
Obviously, the classic Sassuolo need to invest in defenders.
While Sampdoria need investors. And
exactly.
apparently, the Leeds guy is buying Sampdoria, bro. The owner of Leeds. And apparently, he's been given the green light, and this must happen.
Yeah, he's that Radrizzani guy. Apparently the Leeds supporters want him out anyway because they got relegated this season. So maybe it's an opportunity for him to take a new venture in Italy, get this very historic, beautiful team that Sampdoria are, and try to guide them back into Serie A, inject some funding in them, and you know, just do his best to make them a consistent Serie A team again. I miss the team Sampdoria used to be.
Same, bro. Our boy Taco on Twitter tagged us and told us that he started a career on Football Manager 2023 with Sampdoria. And I'm going to read what he said, okay? I started a career on FM23 with Sampdoria, and I'm going to prove that it's easy to do well with them, as long as we don't play Gabbiadini on the wing. I think salvation is guaranteed pretty much with Gabbiadini playing up front.
Literally, man. You see what happens when you play him up front? He becomes the top scorer of the team. Probably, I think he has 75% of the goals that Sampdoria have this season. Probably. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised.
And Augello probably has half the assists.
Exactly.
Honestly, they've barely got anything, man.
Yeah, Augello's being linked to be Theo's vice for next year at Milan. That would be very nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's done studying physics.
Yeah. That's actually true. He was studying physics for a while. But yes, guys, that's it.
Where they are in the table.
Oh, yes. I mean... So
yeah, I think everyone knows Sampdoria last.
I have to piss, dude. That's why I'm fucking. So
you can do it. Yeah, last bit.
Sampdoria are dead last with 19 points.
Confirmed last. There's nothing they can do about it.
Well, Sassuolo are 13th with 45 points. 13, the unlucky number for the unlucky team.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for tuning in once again, guys. The penultimate episode of Season 2. Well, actually, not really the penultimate, because we'll have the next episode where we'll talk about all that happened in match day 38 of the season, the last match day. Naturally, we'll be talking about my stay in Milan to watch Milan Verona, which is going to be a bit of a party now rather than a fight for top four. And then we'll obviously do our classic full rundown of the entire league with our tops and flops. Last year it was a 4-hour episode. I don't know if it's gonna be 4 hours
we'll
again
see.
this season. We'll see. But thank you for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, wherever you're listening. If you're interested in our Patreon, you can find our link in our bio on Instagram. You can hit us up if you have any questions, and we'll guide you accordingly from there.
We love to hear from you guys, so do drop a text. Don't be shy.
Definitely.
Don't be a stranger there.
Don't be a stranger, baby. Okay.
Time for the outro music.
Yep, here we go.
Yeah!
You ain't touching nothing that I do, I mean no disrespect. The bars that they was dropping over there would make them switch connects. Get anything I want and making sure I never miss a step. Only thing we ever focused on is secrets better kept. Everywhere we go, I'm that nigga, me no disrespect. If it ain't no money on the line, it's a disconnect. Found a couple stacks in accounts that I didn't